Hello and welcome to Grid Masters. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Slitherlink puzzle, and this is intended to be a beginner Slitherlink puzzle. So we're going to be going through some of the basics. If you've already seen and solved some Slitherlink puzzles, you might want to just skip past this one to a more intermediate setting. So Slitherlink, the rules are pretty basic. Create exactly one loop, and each number represents the number of loop segments immediately surrounding it. So create one loop. Can't have anything like this, because that would be two loops. Additionally, there have to be exactly the number of loop segments surrounding the particular number. So this one has to have 3. It might be like this, or it might be like this. We don't know right as of yet because we haven't solved the puzzle yet. So that's it. That's all we need to start solving these types of puzzles. So one of the best places to start a Slitherlink puzzle is always with the zeros, because there have to be 0 loop segments. So we could place notation that says, hey, no loop segments whatsoever. Immediately surrounding this 0, I have a 3 adjacent to it. That has to fill out all 3 others, because that's the only option that's left, to fill 3. Now, to create one loop, I have to extend this dot and this dot outwards, because otherwise the loop would stop. And that wouldn't create a loop, it would just be a little path there. Additionally, the loop cannot intersect itself, so that's a no-go. We can't have segments there, because it would intersect itself. This 2 needs to complete a loop, and then or complete the path, and then I path out to that space. This 2 has to fill out like so. I cannot close a loop. That's going to be one of the biggest pieces of logic that you'll see in a Slitherlink puzzle, that you can't prematurely close a loop. So you can put some non-segment notation there. There's a little bit of a deduction right here, but we'll take that in the next step because there's an easier one up there with the pathing. Okay, so let's take a look back here at this one clue. I have a segment coming in. Now, to continue the loop, it either has to go to the right or it has to go down, but in either case, that completes the one clue, which means I have no segment part here or here. Okay, there's another thing we could do in this 0 area with this 3. This 3 is sort of backed into a corner. There's 2 non-segments here, so either if I use this as a segment, this would have to also be a segment, or if I use this as a non-segment, this would also have to be a non-segment. But a 3 can't have 2 non-segments, because then there would only be 2 spaces for it. So these both have to be segments here. Now, one of these, exactly one of these, here and here, must be a segment. That means the segment has to come out through this 1. Slitherlink has a lot of diagonal rules. So we have one piece coming in, and it will come out either right or down for this one, which completes the clue. Or it would complete the clue, and we've got the non-segments that have to be there. Now, like I was saying, Slitherlink has a lot of diagonal clues. This 2 now is going to be very powerful, because again, it'll either loop in like that, or sorry, didn't mean to do that. It'll be 2 non-segments, and that will loop. But in either case, there's one piece coming into this one, which forces those to be like that. Now this 3 gets pathed out, and I can put some more X's because I have to, or I cannot intersect the path again. So this is just a little bit more of looping and path necessity here. Thought I saw something over here briefly, but we're going to go back up here in this area. Now this combination of 3s, whenever 2 3s are next to each other, either diagonally, like down here, which we'll get to, or orthogonally, they will give you information, and they're always a good starting point. I didn't start there, but it's a good starting point. So if I have 2 3s next to each other, I cannot place a non-segment between them. That would force a loop to be completed around those 3s. So that will always be a segment. Similarly, if I place a non-segment here, I would have to put two non-segments there because my path would go like that. And that's no good. So this will always be a segment as well. Same logic there. And now we have this particular pathing out here, which causes this to be necessary. Now this 2 here, I've already got one, so either this or this, but not both, will be a path, so the path must continue like that. Okay, I think that's all I have over there. Let's go down to the, well, these 3's are orthogonally adjacent, so I can place those segments like that. I can also place non-segments out in the middle here. If either was a segment, then these would both be non-segments, and these would both need to be segments, but that would cause one dot to have three paths coming off of it, which is no good. Let's take a look at these 3's that are diagonal to each other. If I try to close this off, that automatically gives me 2 non-segments and a 3. That's no good. So this has to be the path, and similarly, those have to be paths. Whenever you have 3's connected diagonally, or with any number of 2's in between them, the outer diagonals of that connection will always be paths. Every time, guaranteed. This 2 clue has a similar pathing thing up here. It's either one down or one right, so I have to continue it like that. Let me put in some more X's. Oh, continue the path. Boom, boom. Okay, now here I have 2 non-segments, and here the 1 is complete. This 2 has only two segment parts left, so they've got to fill out like that. This 1 has only 1 segment part left. Now that's what I thought I was seeing earlier, but we'll take care of that in a second. Okay, I think that's all of the pathing that I can do at this point. So let's take a look at this 1 like I had mentioned a couple of times. This 1 is now in a corner. So if with any corner, I either have 2 segments in or 2 non-segments in. Well, it can't be 2 segments because that would make the 1 have 2 segments. Can't do that. So that's non-segments right there. Versus this 1. This 1 will either be here or here. It'll either be this vertical or this horizontal. In either case, I can't have a path here because that would put 2 more non-segments, giving me 0 segments. So that has to be a non-segment. There's definitely a deduction up in here, but we'll get to that in a second again, because down here I see a 3 with a single path coming into it. If I were to run that path away from the 3, that sends me 2 non-segments, which is no good. So because I know that can't be a segment, and one of these will be a segment, both of these will be a segment. And then I could continue some pathing rules. Let's see where I get. Oh, this is something that I haven't mentioned before, but it's very important. When you have 3 non-segments around a single dot, the 4th one also must be a non-segment. Otherwise, if it was a segment, you couldn't continue the loop in any path. This 2 needs to be filled out. That clears the 1 pathing. And knock that out. Okay. So I think that's all I've got for that area. So now up in here, I told you there was a deduction. Let's take a look at it now. We have to complete 1 loop. That means in any region of the grid where we could like cut it up, there has to be at least 1 entrance and at least 1 exit. Well, right in here, I only have 2 possible paths in or out, and I do have loop segments in there. So if I close this off, I would have to close this off, and then I have no space left. So both of those portions of the grid have to loop in, which gives me, well, let me fill that out. I have to utilize those, and that'll give me some more pathing clues. This 3 has a single segment coming in, so it has to corner out like that and non-segment there. I cannot close the loop. I have to go like this. This 2 is complete. This 3 needs to be complete by that. And there I am. I could put those non-segments in. I didn't have to, but I chose to. I've got some more cornering there, a little bit of pathing. I cannot close a loop. So now this is the only path available. I can't close a loop there. Okay, looking pretty nice thus far. over in here, I definitely have one path coming into this little section here. If I close this out, there's no exit. So I can't close this out. This has to be a non-segment, which forces that to be the case. Now I have to get this 1 obtained somehow. So I can't close this out. I have to move this there and there. I can't close this out. That would kill off the 1. And now I've got one path coming in, so it can't be either of those. Can't be that, can't be that, can't be that, can't be that. Has to be that. Okay, so now I'm nearing completion. I think what's next to do is going to be over in this bottom left area. And I remember when I solved this earlier, I had to bifurcate a little bit here, so I'm going to say, what happens if I go right from here and then down? That forces this to be the case, and forces this to close off. Then I would not be able to close the loop here, so this would have to be a non-segment. There I am, little pathing and looping, or just a little bit of path deductions going on here, close, close. Yeah, this is the correct path to solve. So we'll go back to the bifurcation point and see what happened. What happens if we choose the other path? Because we've just solved the puzzle. So if we choose to go down instead, we're forced to corner this 3, and there it is. This 3 has to close here, and this 2 has to go like that. And that's no good. So we have to go to the right, as we did earlier. Then we cannot close the loop. If we did put it here, the 3 would close the loop there, which is no good. So we just path and loop. This 1 has to be taken, so this can't be connected. Cannot close the loop. Lots of cannot close the loop here. This 3 corners out. The 1 is full. Loop, loop, loop. So we've completed the puzzle. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want some more Slitherlink, I should have some intermediate videos up shortly. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.